conspiracy theories, tomorrow's headlines. Most are still asleep and I ain't talking about no bedtime. The truth is not a Google search, you need to get your head right. The Greek goddess of illusion was called Media I'm not a coincidence theorist, I look for thread lines. Smashing every deadline, no longer smashing red wine. Though I can hear the bells chime, it feels like the end times. That probably should have been smashed on red wine. But the carnal mind is foolish, obey and end up ghoulish. Don't get used by instinct, take control and learn to use it. Make a load of earnest music, earn a few quid, learn a few tricks. Sure, the truth is persecuted, this whole world is pure abusive. Know a bit about everything and everything about nothing. Figured out my noggin while you picture out shopping. You sit about watching while I dish it out, stop it. I don't mean to sound cocky, I'm not even proud of it. It's a second itch to me, just to me it's out honest. I don't even need to sound honest, never been about profit. Everything but out on it, you can bet your house on it. Doubt I'll be out for the count when the sounds, and I'm down for the beat, no beat down. I mean, how long's it been? Help me out. I've been the only one who's held me down. All in the mind, hell freeze now. Still sick with it, healthy how? Few bars down and the world freaked out. I don't reach out, I seek out to speak out. I'ma recount the reasons they beat out. I'm not the way, no way. I have seen the way. Speak, repeat, there's no way.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, to the 509 Divine Punch Podcast. I am your host with the most. I want you guys to toast up, man. We are roasting up the year with fire and truth, and you have no fear if you are here with me. Not in the booth, man, but, light up a joint, take a drink of water, not beer, and enjoy. My guest is Stephen Gray. Man, he's been here before, so I want you guys to go ahead and buy his books. You know what? It's going to take a minute to really find his book. But, Stephen, let them know more about you, if you could. Just, a brief introduction.
Just to myself in general?
Yeah, let my viewers know, for everybody who's hasn't seen you before. And
Sure. Just the short version then is... I am an author and editor of my own books. So I have two books in particular and another one coming along, Cannabis and Spirituality, An Explorer's Guide to an Ancient Plant Spirit Ally. I wrote about 20% of that book, and the rest of it is the other 17 contributors. And then there's that one that you're holding up, which is much more recent. And that one I didn't write as much. I gathered all the contributors, leading influencers in the field of psychedelics, but I only wrote a couple of chapters on that one, and I've got 25 contributors in that one. And I got another one coming up next year. These are all with the same publisher in the United States, a really good publisher called Inner Traditions, under their particular imprint called Park Street Press. They have different imprints for different foci. So they've got another one coming up next year. It only has a working title at this point. It's going to be called maybe something like Psychedelic Fireside Tales, and it's basically all of my favorite stories from my whole sort of life around spirituality and psychedelics and all that. Other than that, I spent the last 13 years being the lead co-organizer of a really interesting conference in Vancouver called the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference that brought a lot of those same leading influencers to Vancouver. And I lead occasional cannabis ceremonies, do a little music, compose some music, it's stuff like that. So there we are.
Man, I love your book right here. This How Psychedelics Can Help Save the World. I gave one to my cousin, and he appreciated it.
Nice.
I found a lot of fascinating perspectives from all around the world that were all in symbiotic essence, like it all rhymes and goes. I mean, it goes in rhythm with the earth and healing and positivity, because we see the pharmaceutical side, and we see how it like brainwashes people, and for like it's a fear mongering system of like trapping you in a fear of like everything's your fault, and like there isn't any other explanation for the things that you're experiencing or hearing. It's all in you. You need the pill to shut up and be numb, and it kills your body processes. But all of these entheogens, all of these plants. I mean, it could even just be the simplest of things, ceremonies or whatever, even just self-use. It's so much more healthier, so much more powerful. You gain so much more insight, and you don't put your family through the generational trauma of, well, my grandpa, he had chemo and he went through all these 70 pills and he had all these medicine and procedures and the doctor shoved him with this needle and did that, this, bop, boop, bop, man. And I love this book, bro. I appreciate it. You did great work.
Thanks.
Yes, man. So, your new book, touch on that just briefly before we get into what we got. What you're working on next year? You said
Psychedelic Fireside Tales. It's only it could be Psychedelic Fireside Tales and Teachings. It's only a working title. The publisher will have very specific, or not specific, but definite ideas about what they would like to see as a title. So we'll see about that. It's not going to be published until around this time next year. Like I said a few moments ago, Joseph, I have at my ripe old age, I've got a lot of stories under the belt, and I just picked out my favorite ones from my own experience and from the experience of a lot of the people, a lot of these wonderful people I've met through the conference. And like, as I mentioned, there are 25 contributors to that book, How Psychedelics Can Help Save the World. A lot of these people have their own amazing experiences. And so I've shared some of their stories too. For example, I'll give you one of my favorites.
Yes, if you could.
You probably know who Paul.
Be detailed, yes.
Yeah, well, don't want to give away too much, But anyway,
I mean, well, give as much as you can, because this is a premiere in essence. Like, I'm not getting paid for anybody. You're not getting paid for it, but this is like a true,
yeah. Well, you were talking about psilocybin earlier. You know who Paul Stamets is?
Paul Stamets is a very fascinating man, and he has amazing research on healing the planet through mushrooms and mycelium.
Yeah. He's got a new book, by the way, recently. It's
nice.
Called Psychedelic Mushrooms of the World, I think. Really good book with a lot of great photographs. I'd recommend it. In any case, I know Paul personally. He's spoken at our conference twice. And
Paul seems like a loving man.
So any of these little stories, I rewrote. I took their story, asked them permission if I shared it, and in my own way of telling it. So I wanted it to be like me telling stories, not like interviews or anything like that. So
you wanted to be like a true fireside, like you tell it from
story in my own ways. Anyway, so Paul's story, and it's on the public record, so people can find it. But and I did ask his permission, and I sent him the story, and I asked him if he was okay with it, and he said, "You got it." And he only wanted one word changed. He wanted the location of something changed to be more accurate. But other than that, he was
yeah, he is very detailed.
So his story is incredible. This particular story, when he was young, when he was growing up into his teenage years, he had a terrible stutter, and it made him
me too.
It made him really, really shy.
People called me Stutter Boy, as a kid. So I had an accident, a basketball accident. I'm just gonna quick briefly, and it messed up my eyesight and my speech. And people like, oh, you're dumb, slow, your speech impediment, blah blah blah. Like it made me frustrated because it wasn't that way. It was just a temporary thing, and that I eventually healed through cannabis and mushrooms and learning, and so I'm with that Paul on that, man.
Okay, I'm trying to tell you a story.
No. Like I from a heartfelt. This is all to the viewers, and even your viewers. That's not a fake thing. Like this heals, and I'm a testament. Like 100%.
Well, that's the story. That's what this story is about. In Paul's case, was that he had a terrible stutter, and it made him very, very socially awkward. Like he had this one girl that he really liked. He couldn't even talk to her. Right? He couldn't just, if he saw her on the street, he'd look down. Even though she was really nice to him. That kind of thing. He was really difficult for him. Anyway. The shortest version of this is that he got his hands on some mushrooms. He had never taken mushrooms before. He had no idea about quantity, dosage, anything like that. So he got this bag of mushrooms, which he estimates now was probably about 20 grams worth. He said they were a little old, so they may not have been that strong, but still, it was a massive dosage. And so he took these mushrooms, and there was this giant tree sort of in his area, neighborhood, that had a great view looking out over a valley, and he wanted to see what the valley looked like. So he climbed up this tree, and when he got up there, a storm started brewing, and the storm, it was a massive storm, thunderstorm, incredible wind, and it came upon him before he could get down the tree. It was stuck up there for hours while this incredibly powerful mushroom journey overcame him. He was absolutely convinced he was going to die up there. It was blowing him around on this top, near the top of this tree, etc., etc., cold, soaked, rainy, etc. But he was stuck there, and while he was up there, he thought, okay, Paul, if you do make it through this, what is the one thing that you want to change? And the immediate answer, of course, was, I want to get rid of this stutter. So he just made up his mind to stop stuttering, and he kept saying to himself, like I think he said it about 100 times, Paul, stop stuttering. When he came down from that tree, his stutter was gone and it never came back. So that's one of the stories that's in that book.
You know, that really reminds me of a research that I covered on my podcast. This dials specifically with scientists and AI from medical laboratories and things have discovered, but with collaborative data, that about 70 to 80% of our health all throughout our life is depicted by the way we think and what we say to ourselves, and the mantras and the linguistical programming that we program ourselves. And so mushrooms helps that. Mushroom helps breaks up all the broken neurons, the synapses, repairs the glia, and truly heals the linguistic nerves. And I'm
sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
about. So there's no easy way to prove this for most people, but yes, I agree with what you said about the power of intention, I guess you could say, like unambiguous intention. But the mushrooms amplify all that, or any of the psychedelics amplify the power of all that. But there's another element in there that a lot of people talk about, which is the spirit component. That is that the mushroom is, in a sense, the voice of, or the spokesperson for a spirit that's, you might say, kindly bent to help us. And so that comes in there. And if you make your intention really clear, it's like the veil is down. The mushrooms and the other psychedelics, what they do is they sort of dissolve or soften the veil between matter and spirit, and the spirits are kind of in the background going, oh, look, somebody let down the veil, we can communicate with them, we can send them good energy, we can give them insights and all that kind of stuff. I mean, on one level, it's all in our brains, because without our brains we wouldn't be able to process anything, but our brains are capable of being these kind of antenna that can pick up the messages, which are from what Terence McKenna always liked to call the other, right? So the other is whatever that is. It's, some people would say it's you and you are it, and all that sort of stuff. Actually, there's a famous old saying, thou art that. So regardless of that, that's why we're talking about psychedelics, because at their best, used wisely, used carefully, ideally with a good context and container and intention and all that sort of thing, set and setting, we all know about all that. They have this capability of opening things up, opening up some of those channels in a very valuable way. Another topic we could probably talk about, and probably should hit some.
We're gonna change topics, but before we do, on the mushroom aspect, it is highly relevant that if we look across Earth, there's 90% of the Earth is fungi. It's a mycelium type network all across the planet, and I would say that it's it's like the neural network, because as we know, all
It
through the
is.
mycelium, it's sending out all the different signals. But not just that, it's telling each plant how to heal the other plants, and how the animals, and sending messages to animals, sending it's just sending messages. And it's like the neural network of a computer, or in
Oh,
essence,
yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
the same thing with our brain. And if we're looking at the way electricity has its own energy frequency, we can also understand that our frequency is able to match up with those frequencies across the earth, and then be symbiotic in a electrical, telepathic, telekinetic state, because telekinesis and telepathy are an electrical signal and impulse that's been studied by these colleges and universities. Not just that, but it's also been proven through history. So it would be that mycelium and mushrooms are tapping us into the direct spirit mind hive, or like of the planet, like the spiritual neural network of the planet, and possibly even the other planets out there in the universe, with through the ether and through the actual electricity through the air.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, I'm actually reading a really interesting book right now about the life of Terence McKenna, called Strange Attractor. And I've only gotten about, I don't know, 20% of the way through it at the moment, but he talks a lot about, so far already, he's already talking about, this author, his name's Graham St. John, he quotes Terence a lot. And one of Terence's big issues that he kind of stuck with for his whole life was that the mushroom is a voice, an alien voice. It's like there are intelligences all over this universe, and they're aware of Earth, and they're aware of what we're going through, and they want to help us. A lot of them, maybe not all of them. There may be some demonic energies that are not so interested in helping us, but I don't think those are the ones that that we want to tune into. And if you're careful, you don't tune into them. But the mushroom itself, I think, is not a dark spirit, as far as I can tell. Anyway, the mushroom is, and then we're just talking about psilocybin, let alone the other psychedelics. But the mushroom,
Right.
this is something I say that McKenna talks a lot about, is it's like the voice of the galactic, pantheon or something like that. So it's not just connecting us to the intelligence of the Earth, but it's potentially connecting us to the intelligence of the cosmos, or the galaxies or whatever. Yeah.
Well, so when you say that it feels like it's attaching us to, or like getting us in touch with entities, not attaching, but if it technically would be, when I studied the physiology of the brain, I do a lot of research on my own. Like these books, like that's a minuscule of what I've read in my life. Like I don't know, I spend a lot of hours just reading the physiology of the brain. We have alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and theta waves, and all sorts of different brain waves, like, and these are different frequencies and rhythm patterns. And so when we are in a very dual, null, and lower energy state, like our brain waves aren't really so active. But when we're in these entheogen and the different states of transcendence and consciousness that we put ourselves in through these usages, or meditation, or being around certain things like the Temple of Malta, and different frequency patterns of geometrical places like Stonehenge and different things like that, it can shift us the same way. And so when we get into these different states and brainwaves, then we can touch into these entities, and that's where when I started out, and from the start of this, like the pharmaceutical industry and the APA have completely screwed over humanity. Because when in our ancestors, when they tried a little bit of mushrooms or cannabis, and they knew that there was a spirit or entity or something that they should either listen to or be warned about, they knew what it was. Our ancestors told about it. But the APA and the AMA, they completely made people be like, oh, it's your psychosis, it's split personality, blah blah blah, and completely shut people off from defending themselves to the truth of the spiritual attack, instead of like how they do it, they just numb people out with drugs. But yeah, that's about that. What I gotta say about that. We have a lot to talk about. So the book that I wanted to go ahead and brush on was one that you had forwarded on the psychedelic renaissance possibilities and problems. But you have a lot of research yourself that's to get into this, and or psychedelic renaissance, past, present, possibilities, and present. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the one, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
sorry.
That's a theme. It's not a book. It's a theme.
Oh,
Yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah. It's
I
not a
mean, it's
book.
just like, well, let's talk about what we're meant to talk about, and this is part of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Uh, let's. I'd like to riff off something you just were talking about, actually, because
No,
you
yeah,
talked about the pharmaceutical industry and all that. They're not the ultimate source of the problem. They're
of
just
course.
a symptom of a sick societal economic structure, which is capitalism.
Mm.
Problem with
Is it-
capitalism is that it's all obviously about profit. And
mm,
again, quoting our old buddy Terence McKenna, he says what capitalism does is it freezes you in the present and freezes you. What does he call it? How did he put it? An ineluctable moment with no past and no future. And so basically, it isolates us from each other. That's what the capitalists are doing. But the deeper story
makes
there
sense.
has been going on for at least a couple thousand years, and it's basically the way I like to talk about it is there's sort of two. You can never break anything down into two simple, divisions, but they're useful, as a template. So there's kind of two mentalities in a sense. One is as a historical narrative, you might say. So one is the mystics or the Gnostics, as they were back in the time around Jesus and so on, and the other is the Orthodox or the controllers. So
Indeed.
the battle on this planet has always been between the controllers and the freedom seekers. But the
Which are
problem,
usually like the priests and the shamans and those the forward
not
thinkers.
so much the shamans, no, the institutionalized priests, but they've been in bed with the secular authorities as well, the
Mm,
powerful. But the institutionalized church has had a lot to do with it. So the thing is, I mean, I could talk about this in a lot of different ways. So I'm trying to keep it simple here. I have to come back to a psychological explanation. Uh, Everybody is, to one degree or another, terrified. This is core Buddhist teaching, Tibetan Buddhist teaching. Those Tibetan Buddhists,
Tao
have,
Buddhism or the older.
no, any good Buddhist who's actually learned anything will know this. But I'm talking about Tibetan Buddhists in particular, because they were very communicative. They wrote a hell of a lot of stuff, and so one thing that they understood very, very clearly is that the self that we form from the moment we're born, basically, almost from the moment we're born, and most likely, almost certainly carried over from past lives as well. Uh, they use the term ego in English. It's ego, right? So what ego is a fictional self that we create that's made up of stories. It doesn't actually exist. It's just a bunch of stories. It's a
Doesn't
bunch
even
of
define your spirit.
no, it defines the limitations to your spirit.
Mm,
So
traps
it's
you in
it puts us in what my old Buddhist teacher called a cocoon.
a box
So
there or a cocoon.
yeah,
Yeah,
so the thing is, we're every one of us, to varying degrees, mostly to a great degree, are terrified of losing this identity. Underneath all the bravado and the coping mechanisms and whatever else we have going, we all in some place within us, we know that we have made this up. It doesn't exist. But we're so attached to it. And this is not a judgment, by the way, because we all did it. We all do it. But we are so attached to this identity that we're terrified of losing it. It feels like death. It literally feels like death. Why? This is why powerful psychedelic experiences often provoke a feeling of ego death. And if you don't know how to transit that, and surrender to it, then it's terrifying. So the thing is, the controllers are the people who have tried to control that energy. And somebody once said, "It's a free will universe. What you say goes, but only for you and anyone else you can convince to believe what you believe." Right. So the thing is, since we all know. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible, Joseph. Since we all know that this fictional self that we've created doesn't exist, we try to just convincing ourselves is not necessarily enough. So a lot of us try to convince other people. And the way we try to do that is we try to convince them about our story, and we try to control them. That's what you were talking about earlier. It's not just this capitalism is just sort of a continuation of this mentality on some level. It's the mentality of control. It's essentially ego projecting its fear onto the world. It's been going on as a dominant feature of human life for at least a couple thousand years. It's the
would you say that this force is the arcanist, the fallen angel, the Babylonic type of spirit, where it's like it seemingly wanted to suppress humanity from the start? It's like this, when because I've been researching something like,
yeah.
When the fallen angels kind of came down, and King Solomon trapped 72 of them, right? He started using these sigils, and it was passed down through the Oman, the Sultan of Oman, and their ancestry, right? And so when we see what even like the Roman side has done to our own calendar, so there's two things to it. Like there's spirits being unleashed through these controllers, and they want to control, and so these are a method, and so like they've internally indoctrinated a rhythm and pattern, wording and spelling and into humanity itself. So now our 7-day calendar is literally moon day. It's all based on pagan origins, right? Our months are based on pagan origins. January's Janus, and so it's like this very, very mystifying occultic essence that is flooding humanity. Like there's idea that like the old gods never really died. They're just roaming around like lost spirits, as Book of Enoch says, waiting for those who they can devour. Like the Bible says, it's like these hidden spirits that we even know that these Masonic orders and these hierarchy families are admit in their own words, like we do this magic and we put humanity through it. And this is the controlling factor. Do you believe, like, in this essence, that is it is the freedom fighters versus these guys?
Well, I don't really know about those guys. I think it's for your viewers, your listeners, I think it's important to keep this simple, keep it sort of like without a lot of theory and stuff like that. The thing is that it needs to come back to a basic psychological, spiritual explanation of how the mind works, regardless of any of that stuff. That some of those things may have actually happened, may still be happening, but what it really comes down to is what I was trying to say a little while ago, which is that the true nature of life is that there is a creative source, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what you call it, because we don't know it. It's a mystery. It's God. It's the Holy Spirit, which what Native Americans might call
Akashic,
the
ether,
Great Spirit, whatever it is. It's the eternal
prana.
It's the eternal creative force. It is creative. It's love. It's a love wave that moves with intelligence through everything. It's created this amazing planet altogether.
The service to others.
It's just look at the planet and how intelligent everything is. That's that energy. That's that mind. Okay. So, but it requires letting go of this, fictional identity. But like I say, it's terrifying. So what happens is some people just go about their lives. They don't make a big deal about it on one level. Although, as you said, I think right off the beginning, people are living in fear. It's not so much that
social identity fear of if they're not social media cool, or if they're not doing the right moves and making hit backs and blah blah blah, if they're not being better than their competitor in their society and one upping everybody, it's like it's always a fear based thing. If I'm not better, if I don't have the fanciest new iPhone and blah blah blah, like it's 100%.
Well, it can be expressed in 100,000 different ways.
Yes.
But it all comes back to it's a weak place to be, right? Because it's based on a kind of what you might call a poverty mentality, that kind of what you're just saying there, where we don't think we're good enough for one reason or another. It's the same now. Now you just focus it on different things, whether it's iPhone, social media, blah blah blah. It was the same 2,000 years ago too. Everybody has the same mind. I mean, obviously we have our own colorations on it, but everybody has at core the same thing going on, which is that our true nature is egoless. Our true nature is connected to the divine creative source. It's loving, It's pure peace. That's, regardless of what people think about Jesus or Christianity, somehow a lot of wisdom crept through from Jesus. And one of them was talking about the peace that passes all understanding. I've experienced that. I haven't dwelled in it for very long, because the ego comes back in and you go about your life and so on. But this is, one place where psychedelics bring up those things, those experiences of the
I
peace
believe that the
passes.
Eleusinian, what is it? The Eleusinian mysteries,
Eleusinian mysteries,
was part of the Bible.
No,
The people around it. Well, I mean, like the Greeks and all them. Like so. I meant like the idea that there were some conscious aspects of the spirit and people using entheogens around that time.
yes, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah. So what that's like the story that I'm sharing here, right? There's the Gnostics versus the controllers or the Orthodox. The Gnostics, literally the literal Gnostics, the actual Gnostics, back in the years immediately following the so-called birth of Jesus, they were the ones that considered that you couldn't call you. They were within the Christian, cosmology, but they said there's no point. You can't. It means nothing to call yourself a Christian unless you are initiated. In other words, from our
Jesus
point of
wasn't
view,
a Christian. The whole idea of Christ was mean to as Christos, to be the anointing, the anointed ones, the anointed, the anointment.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying though, Joseph, is that in the early years, in the couple hundred years after Jesus, Christianity was starting to happen, and the Gnostics were the ones that said it just means nothing to call yourself a Christian or a spiritual person unless you've had the actual experiences. The Orthodox, who are the people that started the institutional Christian church, were the opposite. They were the controllers. They were the ones who were even more, they were afraid of their ego death like nobody's business, right? So they go, oh, how can we prevent ourselves from having to deal with the fact that I made up a story and that it's all, my whole life is a lie in a sense based on this story that I've created for myself. So they go, okay, well, they don't think this consciously necessarily, but they go, okay, well, I'll try to convince a whole bunch of other people. Yes, we'll start an institution. We'll start the Christian church and the Holy Roman Church and all this kind of stuff. And then we'll tell people, you can't have a spiritual experience. It has to go through the hierarchy. We're the ones that tell you what's true. So the reason I'm saying this again,
and because Jesus said the kingdom of God is found within. It's not found in through the priest, through the pastor who's controlling the narrative. For sure, that is the Orthodox. If I'm correct, it was also the Druids who were part of the unleashing the truth and who was on Jesus' side, and they were very, very respectful of what Jesus was really trying to do against the Pharisees, and the Pharisees would be part of the Orthodox, who would be the controllers.
Yeah, all that stuff, but what I'm trying to do is keep it simple here and say that what we're all dealing with right now, this is the only thing that really matters, regardless of archons and Pharisees and any of that stuff. What we're really dealing with right now is our own fear of ego death and the way that it's playing out on the planetary sphere. So on the planetary sphere, again, a lot of people, that's the materialist illusion, right? You think, oh yes, if I can just make myself materially comfortable, then I won't have to worry about any of that stuff. I'll be good, right? But it doesn't work, because underneath, like I said, we all know there's an anxiety underneath all that. That's a basic Buddhist teaching. They have the Four Noble Truths, right? First truth is the truth of the presence of suffering, or dissatisfaction, or anxiety. It's all based on this notion of the false personality that we create for ourselves. That's the first noble truth. Second one is the cause of suffering, which is our attempt to deny it, to compensate for it, to control it, to grasp things, the materialist illusion. And the third truth is that there is a way There is such a thing as freedom from suffering. That's real. It's not a position. It doesn't belong to any religion, nothing. It doesn't belong to Buddhism or anything. There's such a thing as freedom from suffering. And the fourth one is there's a way to get there, which is to basically drop out of your ego. But that's a whole super, super complicated thing. And that's what the path is all about. But I just want to summarize that again, if I may, Joseph.
Yeah,
That
just
really,
before we
the thing that
move.
really matters here is that where we are right now on this planet is that mentality that's been controlling the world to a large degree for the dominating mentality that's controlled the big cultures, the dominator cultures, the European cultures, the North American society, and so on. That has run its course. It's finally come to the point where it's falling apart. And so what really matters for human beings right now, really, really matters, is to know that we are
Know
divine,
thyself.
to know that we are divine beings, and to begin to uncover that, act on it, and help each other with it. Because otherwise, the fear stories are gonna grab you by the nuts and take you down.
And and if I'm like putting this in the way I see it too, how this relates to how if there were these demiurge type spirits and
Yeah.
these jinn type spirits, they would be inflicting a lot of self-conscious ego type of production inside humanity, right? They would do everything they can to produce an ego inside of humanity so that it can take a human out of its true essence of being one with God. And it would be like how it is these days, where this new age movement says, you are your own God. There is no God. You are your own God. You have control over it. It's like really weird, right? It's kind of strange. It's kind of satanic and weird. So like these demiurges and these spirits, they would cause egregores. This ego causes egregores, and a lot of people are falling under this false energy. They're living out a lie, living out. They have to be better than something else, and it's creating an illusion that's creating a curse in essence.
Yeah, that's all ego. That's all ego. And I think it's most valuable for people that are like watching or listening to this to know that it's that simple. We don't need to go into grand theories about things. It's just the way the mind works. And the path, if you will, is also very simple in concept, not in practice, but in concept, it's very, very straightforward, very simple. And that is neutral observation of what arises in your mind. Because what you said a moment ago, Joseph, is the sort of illusion that you are God and nothing else, blah 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 blah. Well, the thing is, any good idea can be distorted and misunderstood, but the fact is, we are there's a word I really like, autopoetic. We are self-generating, self-maintaining, self-creating beings, and we are our true nature underneath all this trouble and turmoil and confusion and fear is as these divine beings. We are divine beings. We are creations of that spirit in its image.
But
whatever.
but to attach this with how mushrooms makes us actually connected to the ether, the akashic, that is who we also are. Like, we have this akashic essence. I do understand though that we do create a lot of things on our own ingenuity, our own spontaneous energy. And it's human nature to create, because we are like, we see all these other mammals and animals and birds and everything. They cannot create with the hands that we got. We definitely have some very unique presence, but we also the pineal is also very much attached to the universe through the akashic, and that is also an essence that we must abide and respect.
Oh yeah, of course. No, I agree. I'm just trying to keep this simple for your viewers to make it
My viewers
useful.
I put my viewers through rabbit holes, brother.
Yeah, I'm an educator. I'm only interested in what can be of benefit to people that they can actually bring into their lives to use, right? So again, to say it in a slightly different way, we're at a unique juncture, a nexus point on this planet. And what's happening is that the closer, and this happens on both the individual and the collective level, Joseph, the closer you get to surrender of the ego, to awakening to the true nature of yourself, the more ego, and you can forget about whether it's, other beings or whatever, because we're doing it to ourselves regardless of what else is happening. We're all doing it to ourselves. That is a voice within our heads, and if we pay attention to it but don't buy into it, neutral observation of whatever arises in your mind, it begins to lose power.
So
Right?
how do we combat this? Or a better question is, what are the mystics and indigenous cultures? And what are their prophecies and the psychedelic explorers? What do they have to say about the future and where we're at in humanity? I do love listening to what I wouldn't say like necessarily a mystic, but
Yeah.
the vision seers, the seers and the visionaries.
Well, they're saying what I'm talking about. All those indigenous prophecies, the Hopi prophecies, all these things, they're all saying the same thing in different ways. Basically, the Hopis hundreds of years ago foresaw the development of technologies across, like what do they call it, the snake that's going to cross the continent. They were talking about the railways, right? They saw atomic bombs ahead of time. They saw, all these different technologies, and they all say we have reached that point now where we're at the karmic
It's a
end.
crossroad, right? That we're at.
We're at the crossroad. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But
Is it the death of humanity? Is it something that the Mayans even foretold with the calendar ending, or how is this? What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone knows how to read that calendar exactly, but I'm not.
There's three of them, and they all have different meanings.
Well, it's hard to tell, because there's a lot of missing stuff from it, for one thing. But for example, Terence McKenna was big on this, that it ended at 2012. Well, it doesn't appear to have ended at 2012, right?
But that was like the ages, right? If we're looking at like the Callis, the age of the Aquarius and the Cali and different things like that, the changing.
Yeah. Well, Buddhists say that we're at the end of a 500-year dark age.
Yes.
Cherokee
5,000. You mean 5,000 years?
Native Americans? No, 500. There's probably a 5,000 one too, but they also talk about a 500-year Kali Yuga or Dark Age that we've come to the end of. This is all these.
So we are headed to the light.
Well, that's the big question, right? And this is what I'm trying to say, that I'm trying to make this applicable for your viewers, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
no, yeah. I just love conversating about this.
What's happening here is that we live by stories, right? It's the stories we tell ourselves. It's the stories we believe from a culture, et cetera, et cetera. So there are two different kind of stories going on, just like this Gnostics versus Orthodox thing that's been going on for the last couple of hundred years. One is the fear story, and one is the awakening story, right? So the awakening story says, folks, this culture is based on the illusions of ego, which separates us from ourselves, separates us from each other, separates us from our connection to the planet, and separates us from spirit. It doesn't matter how you theorize what that is, but that's the fear story. And it's going to get worse, because as I was trying to say a minute ago, Joseph, the closer you get to enlightenment or surrendering that story, the more ego kicks up its heels, because ego is the voice within you, which is terrified of its own non-existence, right? And we all have it. We all have that voice to one degree or another. So what's happening both individually and collectively is, as this culture, as this current way of running things on the planet, which is completely unsustainable, starts to increasingly break down, there will be more fear stories. And there will be more temptation to fall into depression and anxiety and fear. But, and this is why it's so essential, people need to hear that that has been predicted for a long time. It has been envisioned by psychonauts and mystics, like you were talking about a minute ago. And they all said the same thing in one way or another, which is, we have come to the end of that. You can either buy into the fear stories, fall into despair, follow false gods, people like Donald Trump, who work your fear, they manipulate you, they try to pull you in, with fear stories and lies and all that kind of shit. Or you can pay attention to the fact that this had to happen to create an opening. There had to be a death for a rebirth, right? And so that's where we're at now. So people need to hear the story that we are capable individually and collectively of becoming who we really are meant to be, and then creating the beautiful planet, the creative, free, loving planet that we can. However, it's not going to happen right away. And this is why the story, buying into the positive story, the love story, the creation story, the enlightenment story, the wisdom story, has to be shared. It has to be understood. People have to go, okay, at least maybe it's possible. I'm not going to fall into total despair, right? But it's going to take a long time. It's because things are going to get worse first, because like I say, the old has to die to create room for the new to be born.
I think a major part of what's led humanity to what it has entailed is that there's been a psychedelic factor of humanity that's been around for thousands and thousands of years across cultures and regions of all nations of all around the world, and it's been taken out. It's been stripped. It's like a pattern, and it's now a lot of people are missing the heartbeat, the spiritual component of themselves, and we would need like the psychedelic renaissance, as this topic is all about, to really get back in rhythm. I
agree.
There's my buddy Dr. Simon Hine, who wrote this book, Opening Minds, and he talks about how like in the 1800s through 1900s, this society has become factorization, and it's stripped away its spiritual identity, right? And it's like gotten into this algorithm state. All the computers and all the jobs and everything, it doesn't run by who you are and what you are anymore. It runs by the algorithm, what it's reading and what it wants and what it wants to stay at. And if you're going too slow out of what the system wants, it's not going to let you in, and it's going to try to push you out. And that's kind of the same thing with like society, and they're missing these components inside of them, and they're being lost by the tricks and illusions of these wizards and these controllers, and they're falling into the ego, and they're not being in rhythm with nature, with themselves, with spirit, with their friends, with their family. And that's why there's a lot of divorces, there's a lot of abortions, there's a lot of problems in society, a lot of murder, a lot of violence, a rise in everything that we have seen that we shouldn't be. And I do know that there are some states out here, there are some places, that you have mentioned in your notes, like the Native American Church, the Santo Daime Church. We have different sacraments, different different cultures and places that are coming out to try to help each other. The ceremonies and guides. Where would you say like is the next step with all of this?
Neutral, non-judgmental observation of the mind, and participating for the benefit of other people wherever possible. So what you just said about, these voices and, whatever arising Native American Church, the Santo Daime and all that, here's the good news, I would say. Two of my favorite sayings are, necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. And the other one is, there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Okay. Are you hearing this, Joseph?
Yes, I'm listening. I have my headphones on.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure because you were looking at the books.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm trying to find the Simon Hine book while I'm listening into you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I'm trying to say here is that the good news is that as the current unsustainable, illusion-based structure of the way that things are generally run on this planet. Let me finish this thought here.
Oh, no, I was just showing you that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, cool. As that breaks down, which it is doing, because it's not functional, it's not sustainable, it's not sane. It had to end at some point. It was going to end at some point anyway, just it was going to run its own course anyway. However, when you add in all the visions and from the mystics and the psychonauts and the indigenous prophecies, it's now. It looks like it's now. It's happening. We're in it. We're already into it now. So the thing is, as it breaks down, what happens is we have these incredible inner resources. you know, and so necessity is the mother of invention. And the idea, whose time has come, is the idea that everything else we've tried within the materialist illusion realm wasn't working. And so let's try the one thing that we've been missing for the last couple of thousand years, and actually beyond that in a lot of places, which is that we are connected to the holy creative spirit of divine creation, etc., etc. We are free beings. Our natural way of being is to be at peace and to be loving, to be in love with life, with ourselves, with the world, with everything, to be connected to it. So what's happening right now is that as the old breaks down, intelligence is rising along with the nutso stuff, right? So like I said, the nutso stuff's going to get worse. But the good news is innovative creativity coming out of real intelligence, real compassion is rising. So we're into an incredible time. And I just would hope that anyone watching or listening to your show, Joseph, will pick up on that idea. I didn't make it up. This isn't Stephen Gray's opinion. This is the zeitgeist of what's going on right now. That there is a possibility of the birth of the future human. And the more people can buy into it, and the more people can neutrally observe what arises in their minds and not buy into the stuff that comes up in their minds, and stay present and breathe and relax and help each other, the better off we'll be. And on that cheery note, Joseph, I really gonna have.
Before we go, so you just mentioned it. Like, I've been thinking about this. We are experiencing the next evolution of humanity, right? Like the next evolution
Hopefully.
of the human. Yeah, because like we are seemingly unlocking certain abilities and certain traits through our biology, right? And through what we're seeking through resources, and the libraries are seemingly unlimited. It's like the Library of Alexandria is now over the internet if we seek it, and now we can actually learn and grow our brain, our spirit, and get in touch with more than just our next nation over like 100 years ago and before. To wrap this up though, one last, just it's a quick little thing. What do the tribes say about this ancient dragon serpent that they see in the sky? You know, you know what I'm talking about, that it comes every few thousand years, right? So it's I think this is what the whole Quetzalcoatl was based on, and it's like it's the same thing that the Ohio mounds are based on, right? This ancient idea that there's some asteroid or comet of a serpent in the sky that some of these psychedelic and some of these tribal cultures from the past would talk about.
I'm not aware of that, actually. I don't know.
Because like, the only reason I mentioned it is because this whole three-eye atlas thing, there's two takes on it. Some people are saying it's very ancient and tribal, that people are putting together the timings and periods of when so from what I know, like the flood and the ice age and the great comet and the big bang and just all these the whole conundrum of these cataclysms, that some of them have a tale of there being a sign of a serpent or comet in the sky that had a tail that would be eating itself, and it comes from the ancient idea, or like something similar, or like a comet before the cataclysms, and it looked like a dragon. And some of these cultures passed down the tail, and some people are saying it's what this three-eye atlas thing that's all over the news, making people scared of an alien force that's coming with. And the Japan showed the videos of it having a tail and all this like stuff around it. People are saying this alien craft. Who knows what the. But I just wanted to say, I wanted to kind of get you, if you had any knowledge on it, but I guess not.
Not really. But what I'd like to say about any of that is, and this comes not just from me by any stretch, but from some of the wisest people I know, is these mysterious forces, these non-embodied forces of any kind, they can only hurt you if you're vulnerable to them, if you will let them. And that's why I say the number one practice for human beings is neutral observation, non-judgmental observation of what arises in your mind. It's not narcissistic, it's not navel gazing, it's not.
But how do they protect themselves from it? Because a lot of people can understand that there's things arising, but they get scared. So how do they protect themselves?
That's how you protect yourself, is by not buying into anything anything that's.
So not believing it and rejecting it?
Yeah, just relaxing relaxing, staying open. We're not that weak, you know. We're
Yeah,
not
for sure.
we're not vulnerable to these kinds of forces, you know. The
Unless
devil,
we weaken by our own ego and spirit and things like that. Yeah, conscious.
we yeah, no, it's you have to believe in our strength, in our in our unconditional intelligence is what the way Buddhists call it. That's unconditional intelligence. And basically anything that generates fear means they got you by the balls. If
Right.
you're So this is why you need to, this is one of the key, if not the key reason why we have to observe our minds, is because fear is a lie. And
That's
if
right.
and you have to know that you're in fear. You have to know it. You have to see it. You have to feel it. You
So
have
I
to
try.
pay attention to it. And then you have to realize that behind that, whether you're conscious of it or not, you're telling yourself a story. And maybe I could leave you with a book recommendation.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
write it down.
for you
Even for my
personally,
audience. Yeah.
you're a reader. You're a reader. I think you'll really like this one because it's a brilliant explanation of how that voice in the mind works. It's not a Buddhist way of talking about it. It's called Wetiko, Wetiko. There's an author named Levy
Paul
or
Levy.
Levi.
Paul
Paul
Levy.
Levy.
I've
Yeah,
heard
have
of
you
this.
know?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've heard
so
of him, and I've yeah.
he has 3 books. He has 3 books on Wetiko, and I would recommend the first one for most people. I think it's just simply called Wetiko. It's about a little over 10 years old. The Wetiko is a Native American concept of that voice that is always trying to sabotage you, and it can only do that when you're not paying attention, when you're blind, when it comes in, sort of sneaks in there. It's the voice of ego, like I said. It comes in and it tells you you can't be free, you can't be loving, you can't trust, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's the one that's always trying to sabotage you because it's trying to control you. But it's in us. It's our own voice. Anyway, Joseph, I really do have
Hey,
to go. My wife is waiting for me.
it's been a wonderful conversation. We've this is more than an hour, man. So I just want to go ahead and thank you for being here, bro. I appreciate your
Welcome.
time, and so we could go ahead and schedule something earlier than 8, and that way, it won't be so, because I know that you're a little bit busy, so we can schedule other timings, bro. Appreciate it. Let people know where anything that you want to actually have watched or anything. Do you have anything on YouTube? Do you have anything? Do you need to promote? Let them
Sure.
know where they can find you.
Yeah, well, I have a website, but to be honest, I don't pay much attention to it. I'm on Facebook. Anywhere you look up Stephen Gray, Stephen, not V, Stephen Gray, Gray, not EY. For example, Facebook, I think it's Stephen Gray, all one word mushed together, and then Vision. So if you can look up Stephen Gray, all one word, and then Vision, you'll find me. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, don't use it much, a little bit on TikTok, a little bit on Blue Sky, definitely on Facebook. Also, I just started up a new Substack. It's called Transformation Chronicles. And I'd be delighted if people subscribe to it. It's free. I'm not going to charge anybody to be there. And I'm going to write about these kind of things. I am already starting to write about these things. So Substack, Stephen Gray, maybe at Stephen Gray Vision or something like that. But you'll find it on Substack. So join me there, please, folks. But more important, neutral observation, non-judgmental observation. Be kind to yourself and be kind to other people, please. Okay.
Hey, man, that is a wonderful thing to share with my audience. You are one of the wisest men that I've come across, and I appreciate everything that you speak to the masses, but also me in the spirit, and
Yeah.
it is it's a blessing. So thank you for your time, and
Sure.
everybody go ahead and follow Stephen Gray and all of his work, man. He will educate you and keep you balanced in a world that's very chaotic, very chaotic.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and run a commercial break. So see you guys later. I guess to Stephen's audience, Stephen, you can go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and do some things.
So we're done.
You have a wonderful day. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll talk to you
See
later.
Okay. Bye-bye. How do I leave this thing?
Yeah, I got you. So commercial break for one moment, and then I think we're gonna either check out some articles or run out of here. So I'll figure it out upon the break time.
Not new, what I do. I've been at it for a minute, pursuing doing the damage new. I would do everything that I said I would do. I gotta have it, so goddamn it, I'ma be everything I plan to be. Glad to see money coming my way, believe I'll achieve anything I put my mind to, or at least I try to. I'm avoiding my doom, manifesting my room. Meditate to ease the flow. Third eye open, see the goal, the energy. It can enter me, get me to feeling full. Forget my enemies, dead to me, yeah, I proceed to go to a new dimension. Gotta mention it's inside our soul. Go inside, fuck the outside. Never tell lies, show pride for belief. Gotta keep the range wide, so instead I just write another hit. Getting fried, rolling up, smoke another blunt for the good times. Good times, bad times makes for the good rhymes. So it never matters, I just learned, no I can't hide. Thank God for every second was birthed with the mind of an ancient soul who's just waiting for the next sign. I'm always watching, vision like a hawk, have 'em flocking. When I drop it, talking, have 'em knocking. The knowledge that I'm dropping, I'm coming out the noggin, I'm logged in. That's the intuition, nothing wrong. Doing what you feel is right, everybody got this. Usually feel it in the night when I'm dropping knowledge. I never even needed any college, abolish. People telling people what they want, I do not wish control over anybody, do it for the profit. That's the reason that they push it, do it from the cockpit. Cause they got the money, want the money on the mob shit. On the mob shit. But I know they ain't gon' make it, shit is poppin'. At the end of time, new age topics. Revolutionary crusade cross, here we go to a new space. Yeah, we enter in a new place. Louis V on my shoelace, rolling with the blue face. Yeah, I'm wondering what you chase. Just another dude caught up in the rat race. Moving my pace, lot of people looking at me sideways. I chase future preparations, gotta go through my face. Feel like I'm ready to rearrange it. Happen on a daily basis, tripping oasis. When so many people that I can't see through their faces and touch, so I'm reading minds, feel like I'm evasive, persuasive. Cause I feel the vibe, manipulation, I'm patient. Yeah, I feel the vibe, then work to change it. Manifestation, blessings is what I'm chasing. Quantum physics, I'm about to take the time and rearrange it. I play with reality, can't feel like I'm basic. Most people shut it down, don't wanna embrace it. Replacing knowledge.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and show one last thing because it's gonna go ahead and kind of tie into the theme of this. So two pieces of news information that I want to go ahead and share. One of them is, so if you know, part of what the topic was spirit and battling this, these, I don't know, controllers, this opposition of spirit, the people who are suppressing it in a way, or that, right? What we're seeing on all throughout the youth right now is this 6-7. But I tell you guys, get that out of your house and get the song, get your kids to stop practicing it or doing it. And you need to watch this. So the whole song was created from an artist named Skrilla, and he's a self-proclaimed santero. And for all my Latins out there, we know what that means. This dude's like a devil worshiper, demon worshiper. He's a witch, or does all this. People can translate it in many different ways, but the main essence of it is he works with the evil ones. He says it in his own terms and own words. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you a video right here. Let me pull this up right though. I apologize. I need to get the audio in, just to make sure that we're on point here. So I tell you, ground your kids. Make sure, tell them, like, yo, if I catch you saying I'm gonna take your phone, if I catch you saying I'm gonna take your Xbox, if I catch you saying that you're not going out, do not play. Like it's like almost like it's like having the devil worship, pretty much. It's signifying and glorifying that. And I know so many people are pagan and anti-God, anti-church, but like, no, don't fall for the trap. Just do not fall for the trap of this. Watch this, right? 6-7 was originated from Skrilla's demonic rituals.
6-7 is demonic.
No, that means nothing.
Mean kids can't get enough of and teachers can't get away from.
We are not saying the word 6-7 anymore.
Some schools even banning the phrase in classrooms.
You are no longer allowed to say, what number do you think I'm going to say?
6-7.
All day, every day.
The trend took off a few months ago, but has re-intensified with school back in session. Thought to originate from a rap song by Skrilla. Experts we spoke to say the numbers really don't mean anything.
It's like slang to like make parents be like, what does that mean?
6-7 is a demonic chant that you guys have your kids involved with, and if your kids are doing it, you need to stop them right now. This is Skrilla. This guy's the reason your kids are saying 6-7 from a song he made called Doot Doot. Skrilla is into demonic worship. He is a santero. He's into Palo Mayumbe, and the Doot Doot or 6-7 song is literally a chant and summoning the spirits that he operates in.
I'm a santo. I do palo.
This is not a joke. This like you think your life is cool because you're following celebrities and you're following false idols, but it ain't cool because they're gonna sacrifice you, just like Travis Scott did with Astroworld, and sucks for all of his fans out there because they thought he was a real one until they showed up there, until the people died, until like they're questioning shit. Even like don't play with these artists. That's why I gave up all these artists years ago, and my life's been good. Like I don't get involved in that drama that a lot of these people who get into this mindset, this, you know, King Von or Lil Von, whatever his name, and all them people, whatever they're shooters, killers, but they're like literally now like it's all demonic. It's straight demonic.
I'm a santo.
What's that mean exactly?
Like, all that sacrificing goats and all that shit not just for like
it's dead.
Real life.
You sacrificed a goat.
Sacrifice goats, chickens, mice. Like, I do shit for certain shit though. Like, I'm not allowed to explain it.
That take y'all in my Godfather career so he can show y'all some shit with my religion. Yeah.
Follow me. Starts off with the Legua, which is the path opener, Ogun, Ochosi, Shango.
You think I'm playing? I'll play.
Ochun.
Yeah, like you can put bad spirits on people too. Like you can put a person's name and like their birthday and shit like that inside the. You can put them inside the Agun pot. And then Agun like metal, like they get shot, stabbed, something can happen to them.
So it would be something in metal that would.
I heard it from him. He's in Santeria. He worships demons and he summons demons into people to harm people. In specific, he worships Ogun and Yemeya, which number 6 is Ogun in the song, and number 7 in Santeria represents Yemeya, which is exactly what he is saying in the songs, and now your kids are chanting it. It's a reason he used the Baby Shark theme. There's a reason that your kids feel addicted and like they can't stop saying 6-7, and in the songs it's nothing but pills, drugs, and addiction. Jesus Christ could save witches and people out of witchcraft, and I pray that Skrilla gets radically saved from witchcraft and Santeria in Jesus' name, like many people are coming out of that false religion. It is demonic, it is witchcraft, and Satan is trying to feed witchcraft to lost individuals who need an identity and are vulnerable. They're seeking control, power, knowledge, money, fame, and Satan will love to give it to you in exchange for your soul. But the Bible is clear that the blessings of God come with joy, but the blessings of Satan come with sorrow. Only thing that follows witchcraft is destruction and death. Take your kids, repent and renounce with them, and get 6-7 out of your house in Jesus' name.
Like, you know, that's why you see time and time again a fight against it. Like, there's no lie in it. There's really for thousands of years been dark trickster type families, trickster type spirits to make you do stuff that you regret. That's why all these celebrities regret what they've done. Look at them. They go crazy. They literally go insane, so insane they shave their head. They get addicted to pills. They get addicted to drugs. They shoot themselves, kill themselves. They you know, all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, the celebrities are gone. They even admit it. Like, they're not happy. They're just, you know, living life because of their agents, and they're only doing the shows because of the money, and it's like they're making sacrifices with the devil, and it sucks because like at the end of it, they only own like 25% of their stuff. Like, and the celebrities who do start owning 100%, like Michael Jackson, they get killed, and it's like, it's not really worth it. It's never really worth it. The temporary fun, all that glitz and glamour of the self-fulfilling ego of you can be your own god, you can be the antichrist, you can be the devil, you can be like anything that isn't truly you and truly what God made you to be. That peace, that loving, that kind spirit. Like, you see these celebrities, they ain't peaceful, loving, and kind. They are all talking about guns, drugs, violence, prostitution, sex trafficking, all that, and it's tricking the youth. They're summoning demons straight up into the crowds through the songs like this Skrilla is doing. And y'all, as parents, need to check yourself before you wonder in 10 years, well, man, why is my kid like doing this gangbang? Why is he a murderer? Blah, blah, blah. Like, wondering, but like I'm from and I want to say a rundown, but it's not necessarily a whitewashed establishment rich area. It's definitely a rural, lower class agricultural area, and it's I've seen a lot of this. I've seen a lot of what happens to the youth, what happens to my friends, family, me, peers, just around the surrounding society because of things like this. And then like, it's not about coming to Christ, but yeah, like, you will come to Christ most of the time. And if it's not your thing to say Christ, but you want to say God, that's like whatever. But people know that eventually they have to grow up and like fall away from always being in that egotistical, that satanic, that opposing force. Don't be that opposing force. A lot of people want to be rebels, and they always want to go against the grain, and anything that someone good says, or they try to outdo it, be bitter, or ignore it, or be judgmental. And no, like, it's a false identity that this opposing spirit wants to hit you with. And it's like these demons latch onto you like incubuses and succubuses, like possessions. Like, it's there's spirits around that are playing part in reality that we don't see but are there. And these artists are using it against you, but I and a lot of other people that I talk to, like, and I follow and I believe in, and I understand, because I listen, I'm peaceful. There's a lot of people out here who are trying to fight and trying to help each other, and trying to help you, trying to help me, trying to help society grow and be part of the light, be part of what's right. Like, and you don't got to stand up and fight, but like, just don't settle for what we're seeing out here in society that's harming and tricking people. The liquor, the drugs, the guns, the violence, the santeria, all this. Like, it's, don't fall for it. Don't fall for that sin. Like, focus on the blessings. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that the hemp market and THC market is under attack, and so it's going to be an interesting thing over the next few years if it completely does get attacked and taken out. Like, we've worked hard as a society, as a nation, to fight for what's right. Like, it should have never been banned in the first place 100 years ago, because of the way that these politicians didn't like they didn't like that it was healing people, and they didn't like that all of us Latins and the African descent and different minority descents were using cannabis, and the white Caucasian Zionist type of families and Masonic order family, these European royal family, they didn't like it and they didn't smoke cannabis, but because us minorities used it, we were into the jazz and we were into the music and the poetry and the more loving and kind things and the peaceful nature, and women loved it. The white women loved it, and so those multiple factors of why weed was taken out. But like, I'm glad that over the last few years we've fought to reinstitute what we've been missing for about 100 years. It seemed like a 100-year spell, like the same time that Wizard of Oz put the spell on humanity, just put the spell on, put the spell out there. There's a lot on that, and that's a rabbit hole itself. The spell work and magic of Wizard of Oz, and it's crazy. But last 100 years is seemingly. Humanity in America has been under a spell, and hemp's been a huge thing to help break free a lot of the confusion and ailments. I mean, dude, like the recreational, this like started for me in Washington State like 2012, 13 or something like that. And hemp started 2019, right? So two different aspects. One was that it started becoming recreationally legalized, right? And then in 2019 it got federally legalized to be to have productional value. And you see my trees right there. You see, they have productional value, and like it's brought a lot of medicine, brought a lot of tax revenue, brought a lot of people to come and understand the natural health medicines and the herbal medicines just a little bit as safer, because now it doesn't look so like risky or so rebellish, right? Because now it's accepted. So like elderly people would be going through the recreational shops. Elderly people are using all the time now, and being a voucher for it. I even seen like over the last 5 years or 7 years or something like that, I saw a group of nuns, and they were like on Vice City and different things like that. There was a group of nuns who ran a cannabis shop in California because of church, and so they understood the actual plant medicine, and they were, I don't know, like Catholic or Christian or something. And no, like they really respected the plant science of this as a medicine, and they used it for arthritis for their elderly, and they use it for other ailments. And it's just been a huge change in America, because like we saw through the 2000 from 2000 maybe the mid 90s through the 2010s, 2015s, we saw an opioid crisis. We saw a mass opioid crisis and a pill crisis, Percocet, all sorts of different things. Pills were running rampant. It kind of fed into the whole addiction through just what we see, I guess, now with the heavy addictions of like fentanyls and all these different things. Just Xanaxes and even like just it's escalated a little bit, but it's trickling out. So the fight against it has risen, and we don't want to see people addicted to opiates or pills, Percocet, Xanax, and all these different things. Pills are some of the most destructive things. It goes to like a statistic I remember is like people who take pills usually end up worse. Like there was I forgot what percentage of it, but majority of the people who take pills end up worse, like psychologically. Their organs start failing, commit suicide, they have violent outbreaks and things like that. And it's like, I understand what pills are made out of, and for sure there's nothing in it that actually healing your body. It's destructive, but it's the way that humanity's been like numbed chemically. So weed has been a huge component to unnumb us and revive us and regenerate us and get us back with our just like seemingly down to earth again. America's gotten kind of like all the states who were using cannabis, like they're just a little bit more down to earth than the other states, and you can tell because of the vibe change, the way the cops are, and like they'll harass the shit out of you in some of those states that don't allow it for shit, like, and they'll sniff you out like racist like type level, but maybe that's still in the present America. It's just an untalked about thing, right? It's what cannabis has helped. Cannabis has helped so much population across America. And what this possible hemp ban that they're talking about. So this is probably an article right here that could describe it. This was November 17th, 2025. So it says right here, an entire industry has been in panic mode because the newly passed spending bill includes a ban on most hemp-derived THC products. The ban, which takes effect in a year, would essentially end a $28 billion market and put more than 300,000 jobs at risk. Like just that alone tells you how big cannabis has helped America, right? 300,000 jobs. So like that's a strong workforce. That's a really strong workforce for just plant tenders, for people who are just green thumbs out in the soil, putting their hands in the soil, just like $28 billion. That's a huge boost for. Oh my gosh, it's really strange. So the ban would overwhelmingly impact states without legal recreational cannabis, like Kentucky, Utah, Texas. So like I just mentioned, the states that don't allow it now are about to get way worse. States without recreational markets have seen the hemp-derived THC markets proliferate as demand for intoxicating products continues to increase the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill. So, like, all the Delta 8 gummies and THC A and B and all these different things, and these, like, it seemingly cannabis derived, like it says right here, the hemp or cannabis derived plants and things that we get from the stores and the gas station shit that probably a little bit of legal type stuff, but like it's floating out there, right? All the fake yards and stuff. Oof, man, people are about to be busted on that. All those fake carts. Sheesh. So it's a challenging thing because we're gonna see the people in those states kind of suffer a little bit, the health go down in some places. I mean, what we'll probably see is definitely a lot of people flood to the states that do. So all the people who are in the industry, right? The 300,000 jobs and the at home smokers and at home growers and things like that, and you're gonna see them move out probably, maybe, to these states that are cool with it, the OG states who had the recreational market and who are definitely like, all right, like they're cool with it. And I guess this is gonna change some things up if this doesn't get tackled by some good politicians. Not like it really matters, but like we could fight. I guess it's truly up to the legislation and White House and these assholes. I don't really know. This is putting the hemp industry though in a standstill for just a small bit, and I think that's a good thing to take notice on. That was just kind of one thing to wrap up on before I call it a night, because it kind of fit in with the psychedelic renaissance. Like cannabis it's a psychedelic. I'll be honest. If you don't know, like you can take rosin or edibles and consider them a psychedelic factor to your spiritual being and growth and things like that. Because like P.B. Randolph from 1800s, 1900s, he was America's biggest hash dealer at a time, and he was a mystic, and he would write down in his diaries and things. Hash would help him like get in touch with like the spiritual praying, like the essence of God and angels, and get in touch with that angelic side of life. And that's not blasphemy if you actually study Israel or like the Middle East or history at all, you can see that cannabis before the 1900s was never really banned. Never. It was just looked at as a plant and actually looked at as like a spiritual plant, and like it was respected as such. It wasn't really talked about because no, like maybe they took it out of the Bible with the missing 55 books, but like it's not really talked about. Like, oh, worship cannabis as God. Like, no, it was more. It was more a common thing, just like the mushrooms and the ayahuasca and peyote and different things that have been passed down through like thousands of years. And like cannabis was a part of it. Cannabis was a part of it. And so PB Randolph wasn't really wrong on saying that like it's helping them get in touch with the angelic side, because like even the people in the Bible, like literally by genetic testing, they've found a lot of cannabis resin across the area. But not just that, they have it in writings, they have it in the tales. They're like, oh yeah, we grew up around here, blah blah blah, like the Hindu Kush, the Afghani weeds, like that's not even that far from it, in these areas. And all, it's just a remnant of a long lost spiritual tool, cannabis. Like even when you do edibles in high dose, like high dose edibles gets you psychedelic. There's something to it, the full spectrum cannabinoid and alkaloid usage that you actually get from rosin or CBD RSO or edibles. So like when you smoke it and like with a lighter, you're only pulling like 10% of the cannabis plant. But when you do like edibles and rosin and things like that, you get 100%, meaning like you get more nutrients, more like vitamins in essence. They're called alkaloids and they're called cannabinoids, right? You get more of the actual plant. Like flame strips away a lot of it. So that's like those are like two aspects to look at. Like cannabis is definitely highly psychedelic, and it's been helping humanity fight and break free of this like brainwash and brain rot that humanity's like America's faced over the last, I don't know, couple decades or so. I think it's a tool that can be used better, though. People shouldn't be abusing a lot of these things that are out here in nature. We can do better. We can drop the ego that we can do. I can smoke more than my homie. I can drink more than my homie. I could do more of this, that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bruh, like I'm way past that. Like that's childish. Like that you're destroying yourself. You're flooding yourself. You're allowing an inhabitant of a false identity that like it's not meant to be used this way. The spirit of the plant itself, or you're not meant to be abused that way, which is why a lot of times when you overdrink and you overconsume drugs or overdo anything, you feel it. You're like, oh, I've done too much. It's like your spirit telling you like, yo, you stupid, like fucking get up, dummy. But a lot of people don't listen to the inner spirit because they're numbed by the ego and all these by false spirits and everything I talk about, man. It's been a wonderful time, man. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys could, please go ahead, donate to my GoFundMe over here at the Thanksgiving food drive. We're gonna have it on November 25th, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Over at Crepe House in El Compadre. So if you want, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the link up. So here's the food drive. I've already raised 517. Now I'm gonna get the second link if my phone is on. Oh my god, my phone is dead. Let's see my other phone. I have two phones. Let's go ahead to if you guys could, please, that'd be amazing, man. Pretty much we're gonna be giving out a meal per family, and this is with help of Yakima 420 Club. He will be in Yakima and giving out turkey. So if you're in Yakima Valley, if you're going to be in Yakima and you and your family would like a turkey meal, contact Sonny Nanez or Yakima 420 Club. The same person. He is the owner of Yakima 420 Club. And so He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. You can go ahead and reach out and say, hey, I would like a turkey. I heard it from 509 Divine Pines, or if you want, just start following him. He also is a big time cannabis enthusiast and grower, and he does live streams. So he's been highly active in the presence of forward thinking for cannabis, and being a proponent of the good nature of this. So we do our part, and we're doing our part here with this GoFundMe. So there is that. I'm gonna pull up the second link so you can see the flyer. If I can, if man, I don't know, guys. But it's here, right here in GoFundMe. If you want the actual URL, it would be GoFundMe.com/F/Thanksgiving food drive for families in need. But I'm gonna post that in the comments. So there's that. And while I get this link, if you guys would like to be a part and help for anything in the future, and you have some ideas, and if you want to be creative and just be of service, even to help me with my podcast and everything, please reach out in all sorts of ways. And there's only about another week or so before this food drive. So if you know any families that need the food and they're gonna be in Tri-Cities, let me know. Contact me, and please be considerate of each other going forward, because it seems like humanity's gone careless, and in a world where we used to be loving and kind, and be very symbiotic with nature and each other, and productive, and passive and peaceful, it seems to have gone all into shit and all downhill. Like, people need to pull their head out their ass, and people, like, they know it. They're like, yeah, I need to, but they don't do it. And, like, I'm telling you, you need to. Stephen Gray just said it right now. Like, you need to, like, wake up. Like, you need to help. You like you can change. You can change. Don't be stuck in the fear that all the society wants you to be caught in. You can be happy. You can be healthy. You can be strong. You don't have to be weak. You don't have to be caught up in the addictions. You don't have to be listening to what the peer pressure is saying, or be like the images of these false idols. So I'm gonna show the picture. This is the first. Oh my god! If I can, I am having trouble finding this thing. So, right, 1 second. Un momento, por favor, mi amigos y mi amigas. I don't worry about that and how I said it. Here. Sheesh. So gather and give. Sign up now to receive if you are in need. I'm bringing our community together through passion. 25th of November. If you would like to donate, please donate to the GoFundMe, and message me with any items you would have available. Also, here is the actual link and form. If I'm gonna post this in a chat from one of my accounts. So let me go ahead and copy this as it comes in. That's strange. That is very strange. So if I open it up here, let me do something. I could probably just it didn't come into my comments on the air. This is what I deal with, but I'm all a one-man team. I'll be honest. I can don't even worry about it. What? No, I don't. Oh no. I'll go ahead and drop it. Hold on. You know what? I got this. Let's see. No dead air. If you guys could please go check out my sponsors over at boomerboost.com. Use coupon code Joe30 for some of the best supplements to help you stay strong and healthy. If you want cellular regeneration, though, go over to shopc60.com and use coupon code 509 Divine Pines for the world's best antioxidant. You can source me, cite me as much as you want, man. I don't give a shit about the FDA, and I don't. You know what? Like it's by my opinion, it is the best antioxidant on the planet and ever. It was a Nobel Prize winner. And so there's a lot of backing to how healthy and how beneficial it is. So if you guys could, I do not know how to put this in. Geez, yeah, go over to Shop C60. Also, if you guys want, go over to Chemical Free Body and check them out. Use coupon code 509 Divine Pines for the best detoxification products that you can get. Like if you know you need a detox, if you need to remove some chemicals, if you need to remove some viruses, if you need to like cut some weight and you need to like get skinnier, healthier, and remove a lot of that bad junk in you, go to Chemical Free Body and use coupon code 509 Divine Pines. Tim James is the best. And he's really passionate about what he does with the product lines of detoxification, because that's a serious thing. Like what we've seen over the last 6-7 years because of the worldwide virus and the injections and things like that. Like it's been a serious issue, right? It's been a super serious issue where seems like people have gotten sick in some cases more. And some people are battling the idea of like you know this a parasite being put into the injections, and being a force in some cases where we've seen, this is a real data point, we've seen an increase in death in certain races and in certain DNA in certain cultures, and we've seen a decrease in certain cultures and certain DNA. So like there were targets, there were certain targets, right? So like to really help yourself out to oh gosh, I'm over here trying to get this link out, right? If you want to help yourself out, go to Chemical Free Body, use coupon code 509 Divine Pines. Let's see if I can. This is taking a lot to get this one link because it didn't work the first time when I tried a minute ago. It was a simple task, but because I don't know, the internet's funny sometimes. The internet's real funny. Like, you know how it goes. Internet doesn't work for us. It works for something else, like a bigger AI or something. Huh. Well, it's not even pulling up through here. This is by far the most annoying thing about having to do so many things on a computer at once. But it's all right, man. This part of the radio show. Thank you guys for being here. About 1 second before I get this link out, and then we're going to shut this show down for the night. Oh, here we go. So, jeez, it took forever. All right, here's the pickup form. I'm going to show you guys the pickup form. So if you guys could, here is the doc. So, just put in, will you be available to pick up a turkey? How many sorbets do you want for you and your family? So Chill and Sorbets will be a part of this here in Tri-Cities. That is a company that makes organic sorbet. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So they will be offering a free sorbet per family member that you come with, and just fill that information out. I guess where you're from, your name. That way we get a good understanding of who you are, and if there's people with multiple, let's just say by chance you have the same name as someone, we can kind of narrow down your phone number, email, and that's about it. Just so we can get a head count of how many families we're going to be giving out turkeys to, because there's a limited amount, so we just want to fill up the slots with what we can provide with. And so share that link out right there. It's the Doc Drive. I'm going to go ahead and share this out more. Thank you guys for being here. Please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody around that this is going down, and I'm having a food drive out there in Kennewick on November 25th. And if you would like to be part of it, donate, or if you would like a turkey, go ahead and get this document in the links. You can go ahead and message me for the form, and appreciate all of you guys being here. I love you guys. Humanity needs us to be strong, and needs us to be wise. And literally, you're seeing it before your own eyes. Like, humanity is being fleshed out, ripped apart by monsters in politics, by monsters in occult Hollywood, and Diddy, Trump, all these, Epstein. I don't even want to say the rest of what I know, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, it's the world is ran by monsters, and please don't follow their monster ways, because it's just going to leave you dead, broke, unhappy, unhealthy, and that's not what we want. We want to be able to use our power wisely, be happy, be free, be blessed, be healthy, be sharp, be wise, be intuitive, be spiritual, be living, be energetic. There's so much that we can believe. We are blessed, as DJ Khaled says. We are blessed, for real. And for real, you just have to appreciate it. You just got to appreciate it and fall away from that sin, the distractions, the addictions. And it's as simple as finding the right people to be around, and believing in the change that you can do, and what they're telling you, what the foods and the positive thinking, the positive imagery, the music, and all of this can make a change for you. Doesn't mean like you have to go ahead and throw everything away on the orthodox level, go to church and be the straightest white collar type of, like, God doesn't ask for that. The Bible doesn't ask for you to fall away from everything. It just asks you to not be an evil, like, over flooded state, like of intoxication. It doesn't say what it mentions, like you can drink wine, and you can it doesn't mention anything else. So, like, what it does mention, just don't over consume. Don't be caught up in that hate, that lust, and the gluttony, the greed, and things like that. I mean, in an essence, right? I know that those exact words, you don't quote me, but like you can relatively understand that there's a lot of devaluation that comes from sin and participating in the same occurrences society wants you to participate in. Just like the fall of Rome only happened when, like, they all started getting involved in this, like, paganistic occult orgy, diversity of multiple gods, and just like devaluation. It crumbled, and we're seeing the same thing in certain societies all across the world. Don't be a part of it, and do our part. We just, like, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys being here, man. Have a good night. Be blessed. Be high. See you guys next time on the 509 Divine Punch podcast. Peace. What the fuck? Hold on. Oops. I was about to click the wrong button.